introduction for those of y'all that don't know me. I am the graduate assistant in the Office of Student Affairs, and the Office of Student Affairs is starting a student money management program. So who in here likes money? Everybody? Good, because that's what we're talking about today. We have started a program. We partnered with SIFE to start this program. It's because we've done studies that shows that 90% of college students graduate with some form of debt, whether it be credit card debt or loan debt. And the average debt is rising to about $25,000. That's a lot of money to graduate and have to pay back. So it shows that students are in college and they're not sure how to manage their money or how to create a budget or what loans to take out. And so we've started this program to help students become more aware of how to be financially independent. Everybody say financially independent.
Financially independent.
Good, okay, because that is your main goal when you graduate college, is to become financially independent. It means mom and dad aren't giving you money. It means you've got your own job to pay your own bills. So that's our goal. I'm going to let my partner introduce himself.
My name is Brian Ziemer. How many of you know what the average cost of a college graduate is? How much debt do they have?
$4. No.
$25,000.
$25,000.
That's pretty close.
That's what I said. That's what I said. I only know because you just said that. I'll take a step for step.
We just saw some candy.
Woohoo! I like it.
Oh,
Over half of all college students also live paycheck to paycheck, and 1/3 have sole possessions that make ends meet. So if you look right and look left, more than likely one of those people has either sold something to make ends meet, or live paycheck to paycheck. Like I said, my name is Brian Ziemer, and we're teamed up with Student Affairs for the Student Money Management presentation.
You've got little clickers throughout. We're going to go through a few slides and then we'll get to some questions where you can select 1, 2, 3, or 4, depending on what the question is, and it'll show up on the screen. It's really cool, very interactive, and so we'll get started. And I talk really fast, so bear with me. Alright, so what are some things, can you raise your hand and tell me, what are some things you have to pay for in college?
Housing.
Huh?
Housing.
Housing.
Food.
Gas.
Food.
Books. Books.
Classes.
Entertainment. Yep. Those are all good answers. Okay, so we're going to go through a few of those. So the first thing you have to pay for in college, of course, is your tuition, right? So you're lucky, you go to UT Tyler, tuition's pretty cheap here. It's about $7,000 or so a year, $3,500 a semester. That's pretty good. If you go to a private school, it can get up to about $30,000, and you times that times 4 years, that's a good chunk of money that you're having to pay back at the end of that. So good thing you go to UT Tyler, but tuition's a big amount you have to pay when you're in college.
Housing. I think this one's pretty self-explanatory. I think all y'all have to pay rent here, so rent is actually a very large expense. It should be anywhere from 20 to 40% of your income. If it's not, then you might want to think about where you're living.
Can't live under a bridge. Next thing is books. You talked about books. You have to pay for those. I know one semester I spent up to like $300, maybe $400 on books just alone. That's how much my rent almost costs, or a little bit, almost half my rent. So books are pretty expensive. You have to have them to study.
Then food. Eating out is not actually considered a food. If you eat out, that's considered entertainment. So this is something to behold. Food consists of things you buy from the grocery store. Hot dogs, I believe, are $1 a pack. Loaf of bread's $2. That can last you about 3 days. So you can eat for $5 on 3 days. Done it before, it is possible.
Noodles, man. Bread and hot dogs. Bread 3 days.
Next thing is gas. Someone said gas, I think. Of course, you're going to want to go home, see mom and dad, maybe make a road trip to UT Austin, College Station, go see some friends down there. Gas is fluctuating, going up and going down. It's a big chunk of your budget to pay for gas. Next is
entertainment. Entertainment is all the other forms in which you find ways to occupy your time. This includes sporting events, concerts, even hanging out here. This is probably one of the best ways to get your entertainment fulfilled. But eating out, like I said, is one of the biggest expenses that most of us incur in college, and it's actually entertainment when it comes down to it.
Next thing is clothing. If you're like me, I love to shop. I go shopping all the time. And so I think I need new clothes every week. Yes, like Crystal too. So if you're like Brian, who says he still wears the same stuff in high school. But clothing is something you do have to purchase. You know, your old jacket's going to get worn out. Your jeans are going to get too short and raggedy. Clothing is something you're going to have to buy. You have a big fancy interview, you got to go buy you a suit, something like that. So you have to factor that into your budget. And then next you have those hidden fees, like your parking permit. Those are pretty expensive, $30. Maybe you can go in up this semester. You have a big project, you need to go buy some poster board for it. Clubs and organization fees, like if you want to join this honor society, they want you to join. Congratulations, you qualified to join, but give us $50 so you can join. So those are kind of hidden things you don't think about that you have to pay for.
With that said, SIFE is actually free.
Okay. So first things first, you want to ask yourself when you're thinking about money management is, how much money do you actually have? Do you have a part-time job? Are mom and dad giving you money? Are you living off scholarships? You need to know how much money you actually have.
The next question is, what are you going to do with your money? Are you going to use it to eat out every day and then not have any money come rent time? Or are you going to invest that money and try to make more money on top of the money?
Okay, and where does your money actually go? Does it go towards actually paying for your books, paying for your rent, or does it go towards going out to eat with your friends all the time, or going to Whataburger at midnight? You know, where does your money actually go to?
Lastly, how do you handle life changes? If right now you broke your leg and you couldn't go to work for whatever reasons, you know, the kids make you run up and down the halls all day, I'm sure. How would you expect that? And how would you take it? And how would you end up living off the money that you currently have? Countering in each of your different life expectancy, life curveballs, sorry. Expecting in all your life curveballs can actually help you benefit and budget in the future.
Alright, so how to become financially independent. We talked about that earlier. So first thing is to become financially independent is to have a source of income. You know, whether it be a job or whether you're taking out loans, having scholarships, you're saving your money, you have money coming in somehow. So first thing you need to have is money coming in. Next thing you need to do is manage your expenses and debt carefully by creating a budget. I can't stress this enough. A budget is very important. Sitting down and saying, okay, I'm going to spend this much on my rent, this much on my bills, this much to go out to eat, and this much, you know, on whatever it is. So creating a budget, having categories, and setting aside money allotted to each category.
Next, open a credit card account to start building your credit history. How many of y'all have a credit card? How many of y'all's rates are below 10%? That's pretty much what I thought. Well, basically, what you need to do is, if you have a credit card, you need to start using it for basic purchases. With this, you then pay off your credit card every month in full. Make sure you do this because this will help build your credit history a lot faster. And then next, you want to differentiate between your needs and your wants. Do you need to buy pizza every night? Not exactly. Do you need to pay rent? Well, that's kind of a given. So these are things that you should definitely differentiate between, and then you should list out on your budget.
Alright, so I talked about creating a budget. We've actually got this tool here on our website, which I'll talk about at the end. We've got actually, our Money Management program has a website that we use. It's got different tools and resources. And one of the tools we have on there is an Excel sheet that you can click on and it'll download to your computer. And it has different categories. It's got your housing, transportation, loans, entertainment. And so you calculate, you know, how much you think that all that's going to cost. And then at the end of the month, you calculate how much it really is going to cost, and it balances out for you. It's actually a really cool tool. You should definitely go check it out. The link is on in y'all's packet, so y'all can go check it out later. But I definitely recommend going to download that. Okay, so here's where you can tease the clickers. Yay. So if you buy Starbucks around $4 a cup every day for a year, you could spend the same amount of money on this instead. 1, taking the cute person next to you on a date. 2, a big screen TV. 3, an iPhone and a PS3, or 4, all the above.
What if the person next to us isn't cute?
Cool.
But my option
I take you on a
that was
date,
the good
yeah.
answer.
Sorry, it's mine.
I always look at them.
Alright, so did y'all everyone click their, what their answer is?
You just press 1, 2, 3, or 4.
1, 2, 3, or 4. Alright,
Alright, let's go ahead and close the polling.
close the polling. Alright, let's see. And y'all picked
80%.
80% said all the above. No one wanted to take someone, the cute person next to them on a date. Oh man, so too bad.
Why
didn't you click
Alright, all of the above. And y'all are right. So, if you spent $4 a cup on Starbucks every day for a year, that would total to $1,460. And with that $1,460, you can buy, oh, you heard of Starbucks?
I feel your pain.
Okay, so go ahead, Brian.
Basically, we approximated about $40 a date. That's if you go on a date with me. If you want a date with her, it might be closer to 100. Big screen television. You can actually get them for around $800. We're 46 inch. I think we can all agree that's pretty large. The iPhone, we were going with the 3G, 3GS. But that's not a big deal because even with all these spending, you still have 270 left over. That's a chunk of change.
To take somebody else on a date.
And this is only a $4 cup of coffee.
Or somebody on a better day.
It's right there.
If you smoke cigarettes, this doubles.
Cutting out.
Just by cutting out cigarettes, you can save $2,800, $920.
So that just shows by taking out something simple, it just is going to Starbucks every day, and saving that money, you can have that much money to save and spend on other things. So it just shows you if you just take one thing out of your budget, how much money you can save.
You know how much does it if you eat at Chick-fil-A every day?
It's
Probably
double.
around the same, or
Yes.
more.
2,860.
Yeah. So if you put $200 a month into an account earning about 8% interest over the next 30 years, roughly how much money will you have at the end of that 30 years? So use your clickers to decide. If you put $200 a month into an account,
It's about triple count.
I actually built this question.
It's not one
all right.
The answer is,
Oh wait.
We got 16 responses.
Okay, we're good.
go ahead and click it.
Let's see.
There you go.
Okay, there it goes.
Oh,
Yeah.
looks like 50% of you got it correct.
What's up?
Go give me one more click. Thank you.
Yay.
This is the exciting part. If you take that $300,000 and you leave that in an account, go ahead and give me a click over. If you leave that $300,000 in an account over the next 20 years without putting another dime in it, that's $1.4 million. So by the time you turn 60, well, I guess we all would be 70, but by the time you all turn 70, you could have $1.4 million.
And your account to go to the Bahamas or give to your grandkids. Yeah,
Or if you're anything like me, you plan on dying at 72, so you can spend $700,000 a year for the next 2 years.
So that just shows how much savings can add up. So basically what we're saying is save if you can. Make savings a part of your budget. We talked about budgeting, you have categories with entertainment, your rent, da-da-da. Well, make savings an actual category in your budget, meaning when you get your paycheck, you actually take $100 out, $50 out, $200 out, and actually put it aside into a savings account. This is called paying yourself first. This is because you're paying yourself first, taking that money before you spend it on anything else and putting it away so that you can use it later. I recommend monitoring how much you save, just because it'll encourage you to want to save more. Because you're like, oh wow, look, I saved $1,000 over 3 months. That's pretty cool. If I keep saving, I'll have even more the next month. So, but I'd recommend looking at it, but not getting out of it. Don't take the money out of your savings.
It's my favorite slide. This next one is.
This next one is. All right. So, is owning and using a credit card a good or bad thing? So, you think it's a good or bad thing? They all decided already.
How many of you said good? How many said bad? All right.
If you use it correctly.
Give me a click.
If you use it.
Oh, you're
They listen.
Go and give me another click.
Suck you.
Thank you.
Oh, that was a trick question.
The trick is,
Oh.
it's actually a trick question.
Well, I hit 3 first like 6 times, but it wouldn't take it.
So basically how it works is if you know how to use your credit card to build your credit score and you do that properly, then it's a good thing. However, many people use their credit card for other expenditures that they don't really need it for, such as buying the whole dorm complex, free soda and concert tickets to George Strait. This is a bad idea. But if you use it to generate your self-worth and build a sense, build your resume and things of that nature, then that's a good way to use it, and you definitely use it in those aspects.
So yeah, use your credit wisely. Like Ron was talking about, there's good ways to use your credit. Build up your credibility. Going to college is a good thing. Going to grad school, training, maybe buying a house is a good way to build up your credit. Build up your credit score. Doing an internship, even if it's a non-paid internship, it looks good on your resume later on, so you'll get a better job later. So these are good ways of building up your credibility and using your credit card.
The bad ways. The spring break trip. How many of us have been on them? Yeah, me neither.
See, we should have went to Florida this year.
Pizza, eating every night, it's a bad idea. Every once in a while, it's not a bad idea, but you can always use it too much or too often, and that's a bad idea. Sporting events, concerts, sports cars, these are all bad ways to use your credit. The reason being is they don't add to your self-worth. Anything that builds you as a person and builds your value as a person, that's a good way to use a credit. Anything that does not is a bad way to use credit.
And we're not saying don't do these things. Obviously, you're going to want to buy pizza every once in a while. You're going to go to a concert every once in a while. But don't put on your credit card if you don't have the money to pay it off. So, alright, here's another question. If you spend about $2,500 on a spring break trip on your credit card, which is about 18% interest, how much will that trip cost you if you only make the minimum payment, which is around $50 a month? So, what do you think it is? 1, 2, 3, or 4?
This is actually another one that I built. This is a Brian question. I love these.
I really like them. Did you guys vote?
We have 16 responses.
I was going to be 3 minutes.
Alright. And let's see what y'all put first.
Survey says
Pretty close.
$7,863.
Go number 4.
So half of y'all actually got it correct.
Yes, $7,863. Okay, so not only will a $2,500 spring break trip cost you $7,863, it would take you 23 years to pay that off if you only make the minimum payment. Who wants to pay off a spring break trip for the next 23 years? Not me. So that just shows you use your credit wisely.
So, maintain good credit. How do you do it? First of all, you pay your bills in full and on time. Credit card companies hate when you pay it off in full and on time. The reason being is it actually costs them money to have you on their program if you pay it off in full and on time. Secondly, contact your creditor immediately if you are unsure about making a payment. Basically, the easiest way for me to explain this is if I get paid on Thursday the 15th, but my bill is due on the 12th, then I can call them and say, hey, I'm not going to have any money until the 15th. Many times they'll work with you and actually make it no strike or no extra fees just for doing that. I've actually done this before. I needed literally 1 week in order to get my paycheck in and to them. They said that was fine, thanks for calling, hung up. I checked my credit score a month later, no blemishes. It's a good way to do this.
Next is you want to use maybe one credit card for all your expenses, your regular everyday expenses, and then track that one. And then maybe have one on the side that's for emergencies. So if you have a flat tire, you get sick, I go to the hospital, things like that. But only use it for emergencies, not to go to a George Strait concert on Friday night. So alright, use credit as a substitute for cash, but never if you don't have the cash to back it up. Meaning that if you have $300 in your pocket or on your paycheck or in cash, you can spend that $300 on your credit card to help build up your credit score. But then don't spend $1,000 on your credit card if you don't have the $1,000 in cash to pay it at the end of the month, because that's a bad way of building up your credit score, because you're not going to be able to pay that bill at the end of the month. So what actually is a good credit score? So y'all mark which one you think is the right answer. 1, 2, 3, or 4. A lot of people don't know the answer to this. I didn't before I started this program. Before I started working with this stuff.
Talk about freescore.com.
Yeah.
Alright, let's see what y'all thought. Good job, y'all. Y'all are smarter than I thought. So, that's the correct answer. No, a lot of people don't know that. Okay, so, Brian's going to talk to y'all about checking your credit report.
How many people here have checked your credit report before? 3? Okay. Alright, how many people here think freescore.com and freecreditreport.com are free? Anybody?
Are they actually scams?
Actually, no. Here's how it works. The free credit report and the freecreditreport.com, go ahead and give me another clip, are actually legitimate businesses. And the way they do it is they get you to say, okay, I would like to see my credit score. Because that's obviously why you call, you'd like to see your credit score, right? So you call them up and go, okay, I'd like to see my credit score after looking it up online. They tell you what it is. You come up and say, oh, I'd like to cancel your service because you're going to charge me $15 a month to monitor my credit when I can just go to these 3 instead and monitor it myself. But what they do is they get you on the line, and then you're like, okay, you hold for 15 minutes while you wait for a representative to say, oh, by the way, you should buy this service because of this reason, and this reason, and this reason. And then after they get done talking to you, they put you on hold for another 10 minutes and then pick up, hello, this is Peggy. My God. So after it's all said and done, it takes you about 20 minutes. You're extremely frustrated because you have to listen to someone that won't accept no as an answer. And then by the time you get off the phone, you're just flustered. So it's horrible. The easier way is use Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion.com. These three are the 3 credit scores found on the freescore.com website. As predicted over here on the left, that's what they're talking about. Or if you're like me, you can use annualcreditreport.com. It'll show you all 3 at once. And it's a government-sponsored website, so it's completely safe. That's the way I actually love to do it.
Good. Alright, so next question is, are we going?
Good.
What is an easy way for an identity thief to obtain your personal information? 1, steal your wallet. 2, white pages extended search. 3, Facebook, or 4, internet people search. So keyword is easy. Easy.
Can you change your answer?
Yeah.
No, you can change it.
Take
Just
another
click at which one you think.
This is hard.
Okay.
Survey
Let's
says
see what the room says. Oh,
Facebook.
and y'all are right.
Jeez.
Doing it the higher power.
They are all 4 of those are ways to obtain your information, but the keyword is easy because Facebook is a one-stop shop for finding your name, your birthday, some people put their address on there, their phone number, and where they work or where they go to school. For an identity thief to steal your information, all they need is 3 pieces of information. They need your name, your birthday, and your social security number. And if you're already freely giving them your name and your birthday, finding the social security number is not that hard, especially if they know what they're doing. Of course, their identity, they know what they're doing. So, putting that stuff out there for free for them to see is not a good idea. We're not saying don't put your name on Facebook. We want you to put your name. Of course, you're going to put your name. Of course, you're going to put your birthday. You want everyone to write on your Facebook wall when it's your birthday. So, we're not saying about put that stuff, but to have privacy settings. Don't let people look at your Facebook unless they're friends with you. And so that strangers can't see that type of information.
For the next part, we're going to have Stephen Goad come up and present his story on protecting your identity and what happens if you do not. Alex, come on around.
Yeah. My identity was stolen from the most secure database in the world, the Department of Defense. I was in the military, and there was a hack. Was it 1.7 million, I think, names and social security numbers were stolen? So mine was one of them. I was a service manager at a car dealership, and I was in my office, and I get a phone call from the finance manager. And he tells me that there is a lady in there buying a car with my social security number. The only reason it pulled up because it was my employee profile. So we hold her there. Basically, she's thinking she's buying the car until the police show up. And sure enough, she had my social security number. She had gotten it from somebody illegally and was using it to buy a car in my car dealership. Luckily, I had her deported, but I'm pretty sure she was back a couple of days later. But that's the Department of Defense. They supposedly operate the most secure network in the world, unhackable, and it was hacked. So don't think that people can't get your information. And we'll go back to Facebook for just a second. As far as like employers and stuff are concerned, you probably haven't heard, or you will hear if you're in class, especially if you're in the business building. Employers will check your Facebook. So please be careful what you put on there. We had a friend that was offered a position by the DOD, and the only reason she was offered it, not the other applicants, because she was the only one who wasn't partying on her Facebook. DOD has a specific login where they back channel. You're not private to them. If you're looking for a government job, they can bypass all the security checkpoints and they will see everything on your Facebook. So be really careful what you put on there and protect your identity because there's really nowhere that is 100% safe.
All right, thank you, Stephen.
Thanks, Stephen. Okay, so Brian's going to talk about the first point. So,
First of all, do not carry your social security card or any identifying PIN numbers or anything of that nature. Passwords are also something that you should not carry. The reason is, what happens if you drop your wallet and someone picks it up? Well, now they have access to literally your whole life. Everything about you can be found online.
also, you want to buy a shredder and use it. I know there's an instance where my roommate and I were taking out the trash. There wasn't room to put it in the dumpster, so we just left it outside the dumpster. Not didn't really think anything of it. Well, the next day we get a note on our door, and it's her actual pay stub from where she works with all her personal information on it, her name, her social security number, everything was on it. and it's from a realtor that says, hey, don't put your trash outside the dumpster, we're going to fine you for it. So apparently they went through our trash, found her pay stub, and put it on our door. And that just shows you, but what if it wasn't our realtor that went through the trash? What if it was someone that knew how to steal identities? They would have all her information right there on her pay stub. So make sure you buy a shredder and you actually use it.
Review all your financial reports and your credit reports as well for unauthorized use. If you can find it before they spend too much, then you're not liable for most of the spending. I know some credit card companies hold you accountable for up to $500. Most, however, do not hold you accountable for any of it. But it's still good to know whenever yours is getting stolen. Therefore, next time you go and buy a car, you're not hit, blindsided by someone going, oh, your credit score is 200 because someone stole your identity. It's better to be prepared. Use TransUnion, Equifax. They're all good ways to go.
And if I would have done that, I wouldn't have been as much damaged because there was actually several phones opened up across the country in my name that I didn't know about.
That's crazy. Alright, so we want to leave you with some money management tips, the things we talked about today. First thing we talked about is creating a budget. It's really important to create a budget, to plan out how you're going to spend your money. That's the best way to manage it, is to actually have a plan and knowing where your money's going. I use our website, go to our website, use our Excel sheet. It works really well. 2 is control your spending. Cutting out Starbucks every day can help you save your money. Just watch where your expenses are going. Next thing I do is pay yourself first. Talk about saving money is so important because that's money you can use later on after you graduate college to buy a house, buy a car, pay for a wedding, whatever you want to do. Paying yourself first will benefit you in the end.
Use your debt wisely. Make sure that you're only using your credit for things that can build your self-worth. With these things, you can eventually make a very impressive resume.
Next thing.
And lastly, protect your identity. Don't let what happened to Steven happen to you.
Alright. So was this information helpful? Be honest, this is a new program. It just started like this semester, kind of, sort of. And then so we want to know, was this information helpful? Do you think this is a good program? Whatnot. So use your clickers, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Also, in your packets, there's a green sheet of paper. I had you take a pink one. That was the before one. This is the after one. So tell us what you've learned, if you've learned anything. And then on the back, tell us what you liked about our presentation, what you didn't like, what we can improve on. And so anything is helpful to us. Anything else?
So,
Oh, good.
it's fine.
Okay. So this is brought to you by the Office of Student Affairs and SIFE, Student Temporary Enterprise. We're glad y'all came. We're not done yet. We have a game we're going to play, actually, if y'all want to stick around. It's kind of fun. It won't take long. My name is Christina. Like I said, this is Brian. There's our emails if you want to email us. Check out our website. It's www.uttyler.edu/studentaffairs/SMM, which stands for Student Money Management. Check it out. There's articles on there. There's tools. There's a link to our cash course, which is run by UT Tyler. Actually, it's has money management things on there. All kinds of things on there. We just transferred over to the new website, so it looks really, really good, doesn't it?
Oh, it looks excellent
So,
compared to the old one, especially.
especially compared to the old one. So yeah, definitely check it out. While you're doing